Hey, look, Menulog.
It's so hard not to go dog voice, right?
Yeah.
Every time you want to call a dog,
Isn't that the point of this?
So cute.
I thought that was the point of this one. To
He's
talk
a
to him like a
cute
little
boy.
cutie. Hello, hello. I just want to scratch you on the ear, big boy. So many good boys. So many good boys. Now let's have a look at the final one. Who is it? Who do we have? It is.
Oh, no.
Oh my lord! It is.
No.
Bloody weird looking bald cat. Who's that guy? No idea. No, Udi7's in the chat. Please don't spam them. Now, of course, we got to talk about the game, which is Order and Mammoth. It was my mistake going into the break. I gave a couple of people heart attacks. Everyone in chat saying, what bloody day is it? It's Monday. No, it's not. That was yesterday. Now, look, let's just start to talk the game. We got Order, we got Mammoth, but let's talk Order first. So, Skimmy, tell me, we saw a rough game out of them yesterday, and how hard are they going to bounce back today?
Well, you'd hope they can bounce back, right? Because they've shown that they can get upset wins over teams in the past, and no doubt they want to try and bounce back and sort of continue on that, trajectory. But looking at Order here, Order looked to be the team so far that we had a bit of belief behind them, thinking they'd hit that new stride, right? The later weeks were really proving to be their best friend, but an upset after last night into Direwolves sort of has you second guessing everything once again. Really unsure what to make of them because. On one occasion, they're all just popping off smurfing. The next game, though, they sort of get in their own heads a little bit. So hopefully they can sort of find that moment, before best of threes and best of fives can really punish them.
Now, Kitty, talk to me. It's a battle of two teams, and Mammoth are on the other side of the rift today. Order, they're a couple of big dogs, but we got a couple of big mammoths here. A couple of tusks that are very sharp at the best of times, and chemistry is key for this team. Now, how are they going to get this dub if they can today?
Yep, they have all played together on a uni team for one entire year, so they do have that team synergy, but I'm still focusing on Refury and Voice being the main carry of Mammoth. Especially Refury, he has been drafted Rise in the last game, but he didn't do that well. It's not his playstyle, and I expect him to be put on more of an explosive champion that can do much more in the early game. Voice was also drafted the Caitlyn. We saw that he was pretty good on the Caitlyn, but when you are the solo carry being on Mammoth, it's actually really hard to survive as the ADC because you have 5 people charging at your face.
Yeah, that's never a good time, is it? Now, look, I am keen to see Order get a dub to try to keep climbing up, but if Mammoth get it, it is that much more important for them, right? Because they're chasing that 5th position. Direwolves just copped an L, so if Mammoth can get this W, they're that one step closer. And they may even, well, at least they'll go to like 1-1 in terms of that head-to-head, right? So it's something that could happen, but last time we saw these two teams play, of course, Order got the W. So maybe a chance for redemption for Mammoth. But with the form that we have seen from last week, if we see that Order today, then Skimmy, I'm very, very worried for Mammoth.
Yeah, I am too, because, I mean, Puma, we get most excited for him when he's playing these hyper-carry champions, right? When he locks in that vein, you're thinking, yes, finally, we're back to sort of those moments where you think he's, Puma Uzi, Puma Uzi, whatever it might be in terms of, the prodigies around the world and the world landscape of League of Legends. But I would love to see him just be unlocked, unleashed, and allowed to just pop off again, because it just seems that if he's ever having to play a bit more of a backseat role, like those games on the Jhin and the center, that's when they lagged a little bit behind. So, yeah. Want to see them just go really in their face and cause Mammoth some headaches.
And it was when Corporal was absolutely popping off the last time these guys went head-to-head. So let's have a look at Corporal stats. Let's just see how he's faring at the moment. So far, so good. As far as I'm concerned, but Kitty, you are the resident support here, so talk to me about what everything here means.
Corporal is the best Leona by far in the league right now. He is a Leona superstar, the main initiator on those engaged supports, which provide a really clear team fight on who to focus down. And I found a fun fact about Corporal.
Yeah.
So he consistently builds Zhonya's as a second item on those engaged supports, but he's actually never completed a Zhonya's, so he's just hard stuck on Seekers.
Okay, now Skimmy, anything you want to touch on here while we're looking at this one? Because, of course, he's had some pretty good games on that Leona.
Yeah, he has. The last few games he hasn't played it, even though it wasn't banned. He's opted to go elsewhere. He's actually got the second highest kill participation in the league. I think he's really come into his own with his roam timing and his ability to try and scatter opportunities to sort of farm some of those kills. So I think that's a big stat to talk about. Is your timing, your lane assignments, your deployment onto the map. Because how many times have we seen in games where a gank's going to happen, but you've got a numbers advantage, or right place, right time, and the majority of the time, Corporal's there.
He certainly is, and not only is he there on your screens, he might be jumping back again because I've got him ready for the pre-match interview. Going to be having a chat to him. Hopefully I don't chat your ear off. Corporal, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. How about you?
Oh, mate, pleasure. Great as always. I am too a pleasure, I think. I don't know. Is that normal? Is that a good icebreaker? If you walked up to someone and said, hey, I'm a pleasure, what do you think they would say?
I would just laugh it off awkwardly, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably
like right
the
now.
way to go. And just go, that guy was like mad weird. Hey, yeah, awkward. Now, look, talk to me. So yesterday, obviously you guys didn't have the greatest game. I just want to know what went wrong and what you've changed going into today to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Honestly, I think the biggest problem that we have is we kind of defeat ourselves. So yesterday we lost to ourselves again, I think, and today I'm ready to like stomp on some randoms again. So I think like for sure we're gonna win.
Okay, big words, big words. Now, how's the synergy going with you and Puma in the bot lane? Because statistically, Puma's insane, and it seemed like it took a couple of weeks for you guys to sort of work on that chemistry.
I honestly think at the start of the time I came to LCO this year, I thought Puma was around second to third best, but I genuinely think now he's the best AD carry in the league. So, and I also believe that we're the best bot lane. So, I'm really confident in what we're going to do, and I think for sure we're just going to destroy the other bot lanes.
Yeah, something I've noticed about him is just his positioning in team fights is just immaculate. He always seems to be in just a safe spot, and no one can ever touch the man. So, little compliment for him there. Now, it's National Barista Day. What are you brewing up going into this game today?
Is there a day for everything? Like at this point, it kind of feels like there's just like random days going around. But I guess
so.
what I'm brewing up is...
I'll give you a secret. There's a website called Days of the Year, and I may or may not use it every time I do interviews to create content. So look, the secret's out. But what if you had to like call this game a coffee? What kind of coffee is it?
Look, I'm not really that much of a big coffee drinker. I think I'm more of a bubble tea kind of guy. Okay. So, like I guess I can just say it in bubble tea terms because that's all I know. So it'd be a passion fruit drink with no passion, because they're gonna look soulless after they get destroyed.
Okay, well, on that note, let's see how the interview goes. After the game, we'll make sure you live up to that. All right, see you later, Corporal. Good luck.
I'm down to come back and keep my words.
Good. Thanks. Awkward start of the interview.
Yes.
And a beautiful end of the interview. Handled very well. I don't want Corporal to eat his words, but he was spitting some fire in that one. Had something to say. Passion
fruit without the passion. What today is almost like international spit one-liner day, isn't it? Right? We have focus, retrospection. Now we've got passion. At this point, the teams all need to have these buzzwords ready to go. Yeah, I love buzzwords, but I also love the Dare fan vote, because you guys at home can get your Twitch predictions in, make sure you're getting your points on the team that you want to win, and you can take part in the Dare fan vote. And then, during the game, you can have a look at it. You'll see which way you guys think this one's going, because, of course, we care about what you guys think. But right now, I care about what I think. So let's have a look at the predictions from us. All right, what are we going? Where are we headed? And it's just me believing in the Tusky boys. Everyone else in the order bandwagon. So look, Rusty's not here. Kitty, I know that you would love to speak for Rusty, and I know he's watching in Twitch chat. So please tell me Rusty's thoughts on this matchup.
The last time we actually saw this matchup, it was a huge support differential with Corporal on the Leona once again. I believe that Corporal had made Rocco die 3 times before 10 minutes, so that's absolutely insane. We also saw a really good performance from Kevy on that Evelyn, but Kisei is the only point that I'm still pretty uncertain about because of that Tryndamere gameplay that we saw. The 3 times not pressing ult, I don't know, maybe his ult button's broken. Hopefully it's working for tonight's game because I did predict them winning, so yeah, best of luck to him.
Look, I think that maybe I'll give you like an 8 out of 10 for that one, but if you did Rusty's voice as well, then that would have been, you know,
It would have been so good.
so beautiful. Now, Skimmy, talk to me. Almost worked yesterday. Spin me
Yes.
the narrative of Mammoth coming and taking the W.
Okay, so let's get inside the minds of Mammoth. What are they trying to think? We're working on growth. We're looking for some upsets. We're trying to throw a few punches here, right there, and trying to upset the apple cart of it not being a 90-10 differential against us. I like the word differential. That's another big buzzword. Yeah, I think Retheory is definitely going to be your go-to, right? If you can try and bully Kisei, as Kitty mentions, then could be the icing on the cake. He tried to go for the Zeref last time. It didn't work out, but I'm a believer.
I am a believer after that bloody yarn, and I heard Champ Select's ready, so let's jump on into game number 2.
We do certainly love a good yarn here in the LCO. It keeps the time going, it keeps the pauses rolling, and it keeps the action happening. As we load into this one, it's going to be Mammoth on the blue side, who've already banned away the time Kench. They've seen too much of it in this region.
They've actually banned away Rocco's Zillion support. Quite an interesting ban coming out of Order. We do see Retheory locking in the Veigar. This is the second game on Veigar this split.
It took us such a long time to really get that one out, right? Given that we came into this league saying he is the Veigar player, it became meta, and he said, I'm still not going to play it, but yes, second game for him. And we have seen teams, have it drafted, but I think Rusty's probably been the most outspoken. If you are drafting this early, please punish it.
I'm expecting Order to play one of those long-range mages or even just something that can punish the Veigar before he gets those stacks on his passive. We do see Puma actually locking in the Ezreal. Ezreal isn't a really popular pick in Compet right now, other than the LPL because he doesn't use lethal tempo like the other ADCs, and he doesn't scale as well with the current itemization. But Jinx being banned away, they are going to let Mammoth have the Aphelios most likely. And I'm expecting Order to actually pick the mid lane because Mammoth have shown Veigar so early in their draft, yeah.
Yeah, they certainly have. Yes, Kevin is back once again. 100% win rate. This champion, when you lock it in, you feel just a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. You feel comfortable. You feel like, okay, Order win.
I do feel that warm, fuzzy feeling because that means I'm going to get my prediction right. So we're going to see Mammoth maybe responding to Kevlin because they have decided to show Evelyn really, really early in the draft, which is quite surprising because you never want Evelyn to have a bad matchup in the jungle because she already has such a disadvantage in the early game.
So he can be punished in that phase as well. Nautilus going to come out here, so looking to try and find some answers to deal with this Ezreal. Obviously, he's one of the most frustrating champions to deal with, especially those hook champions, right? Because you can buffer things out with your arcane shift. We saw it played by Peace. They played it with a Karma in the bot lane, so they just went all out sieging with the poke. And I do wonder if their side of Order are going to try and approach this matchup in the same way, because Mammoth have a lot of engage.
Seeing Hecarim locked in a second game in a row for Mei Fan, quite a really good pick into the Evelyn for the early game. But we will see maybe Order responding with a support pick in this selection right here.
What would you like here for the Ezreal pairing? What's your go-to?
Honestly, Leona. I want to see Corporal Leona. You once destroyed Rocco on that Braum with the Leona. Why not do it again?
Yeah, obviously a lot of explosive damage. No doubt about it. Leona passive, combo that with Machine, and yeah, things get a little bit dicey. Trading patterns certainly can punish you. And I think you raise a really good point, right? The last time we saw these two teams do battle, it was the case of early game. The Vayne was so far ahead in 4 minutes. Kevlin was popping his head into the lane. I've got to stop calling him Kevlin. I see the champion and I'm just like, that is his name now. But yeah, they certainly rolled away with it. It feels like they've got a very aggressive bot lane to try and do the same this time.
That also reminded me that the first time we saw Kevy's Evelyn this split was against Mammoth and he did so well. So they're just going to run it back again coming from Order. We actually see Tryndamere being removed here because maybe the Veigar can be a flex to ADC. That's what Order's suspecting.
I'm just wondering, we've got an Irelia ban here. Is this Mammoth or Tron the Pom in particular basically revealing that I want to play Gnar We haven't really seen the Aurelia Nar counter take place too many times this split, if at all, but you do know that Kisei will play the Aurelia if given a chance.
Both Aethylos and Jinx is going to be removed from the side of order. Voice has picked the Samira in the past, and he picked Kaylin in his previous game, I believe, and he did pretty well on both. I really want to see Voice picking the Samira once again because it is something he is quite fond of. But coming out of Mammoth, it's going to be a Gnar ban, Skimmy.
Oh, okay. Well, my point just goes completely out the window. Forget what I said, remove it all, and let's focus on what order take instead. They're going to go for a Graves here, Kitty.
Yep, Graves blind picked the classic in LCO right now. Graves has really high priority in terms of the top lane matchups. It does really well and has little counter to it. And the only counter that is really good into this Graves is going to be either an Akali or even a Gwen, a Poppy? Oh, interesting.
Okay, so we've had Jungle Poppy, and that was into a Jarvan to make his life very hard with dashing all around, but this time, a laning Poppy.
A laning Poppy indeed. That does stop orders Leona. It gives the Leona a really hard time engaging with those Zenith Blades.
Oh,
What?
No way Voice has just done this. He's just said, Puma, you played Vayne, the only Vayne game. You thought you're good, but watch this. Talk about dropping the gauntlet.
We do see a Vayne pick. Maybe he can condemn the Leona away. That's going to be the ideal situation for Voice. But we do see Sylas being picked from the side of order to counter this Ahri. Okay, I really like this Ahri pick. Oh no!
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
so it's going to be a Sylas locked in. Okay.
What do you think of Sylas here? I mean, every time Sylas comes into the conversation, we've always got to quickly assess the enemy team and say, what ultimates are there to steal? We saw it yesterday, played well, consistently stealing away the Hecarim, for instance. Obviously, the depth charge is going to be quite nice. You can maybe make a case for stealing the Poppy as well, but what do you make of it?
So Sylas can steal the Hecarim and maybe Nautilus ult at best, but in laning, this Veigar is going to free scale until maybe level 6, because that's when Sylas can steal those ultis and dive onto the Vayne and Veigar. That's when the Veigar really struggles, but I don't actually think Sylas is an ultimate counter into Veigar, especially when Veigar was shown first in the draft. It's not being punished that well from the side of order.
It does beg the question if there was ever an argument to be made for something like a Syndra, like we've seen Kisei already play before, would have given him some range CC to back things up, but that is what we have. This is what's locked in. It's going to be the first game here for BioPanther playing that Graves. He's been really standing strong for such a long time, saying, I will not give in. But finally, in week 6, Graves has come out. And I suppose the question now becomes, ease of execution, which draft do you favor?
Mammoth definitely have the easier comp to execute. They have the Veigar cage for CC, they have Nautilus ult, and they have the Hecarim ult for all those engages. Because of these team fights, you want to have that easy go button, and that's what especially the Veigar, that's what he provides. But looking at the side of order, other than this Leona, maybe even when Kisei steals the Hecarim, it's pretty hard to actually have a clear initiation on when a fight is going to start. And that's the point I have for yesterday. So yesterday when Corporal wasn't on that Leona, their fights were extremely messy because there was no clear initiation coming out of the side of order. So my point was maybe order no Leona, no clue.
Very good point. I'm just getting distracted because I'm getting attacked by a fly in my face right now, but you don't know that because you can't see me on your screen, so that's
now we know.
Point. But now you know, so I just want to share a bit of story time with you guys as we load into the Rift. Game number 2 of the day, and it should be a very exciting one at that. Order want to create daylight between themselves and Pensnet, but for the side of Mammoth, they also want to make their life as easy as possible as we get only a few weeks out now from playoffs themselves. Well, the showdown in the bot lane, no doubt about it, is going to be where we're really excited. The battle for which is the better Vayne player. And I suppose we can ask that question and many more to Coach Ceres from the side of Order.
Hey, Skimmy, how's it going?
Very well, my friend, very well. Well, yeah, I suppose a few different questions to ask. We can jump into the Vayne one in just a second. But I have to say, you know, third round Robin, that's going to kick off tomorrow. Comparing the start of your split to where you are now, are you sort of happy with the progress that's been made?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part we are. Best of ones is always hard to actually show any definitive progress, I think. There's a lot of like side selection bias and different things that can come out in best of ones, and I think that it's all going to culminate in the playoffs. So we'll see when we get there, but for the time being, it's going well.
No doubt about it. And it has been a very exciting season as a result so far because of that. But yeah, the big thing for me, no doubt about it, has to be this Vayne pick. We saw how well Puma and Corporal played that lane last time, but the fact that Voice just dropped the hammer and said, I think I can play it better. Were you surprised by this?
Yeah, actually, we were. Obviously, we were narrowing the AD pool quite heavily. I don't think it's easy to play Vayne into our champions at all, especially Silas that can steal Nautilus ult and just shut him down. So I think he's in for a rough game, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if he can pull this one off.
Certainly will be, no doubt about it, hunting for some of those 1v1s in lane into the Ezreal, but easier said than done. Well, wish you boys the best of luck in this game. Hope the rest of the week pans out nicely as well, and yeah, talk soon.
Cheers.
Skimmy, Rocco burnt Flash already.
That hurts. What happened?
So, Kise went for a sneaky E over the wall and caught Rocco by surprise, meaning he had to burn the flash. Although, I think he could have held onto his flash just a little longer because the rest of the team was very far away. Maybe you could even burn out Corporal doing a flash E, and if you have fast enough reactions, respond with the flash, but a flash for nothing trade coming out of Mammoth.
I guess now that becomes a little bit dicey in this lane, right? Because you are, typically speaking, going to feel a little bit weak until you've got that item breakpoint to answer back in this one. So, should we expect now a very passive laning state?
So, something that I've also picked up is Rocco didn't take Hex Flash, so the only go button he has for a longer range hook will be that flash. I'm assuming Corporal did take Hex Flash because that's something he's quite fond of, but Rocco with no flash, if he hooks in and it doesn't go from 100 to 0 ADC, it's going to be really hard for Rocco to actually walk out from that Leona.
That's a very good talking point. And we've got to keep our eyes on this mid lane as well, because that's also what we're interested in, right? How does this Veigar free scale? How can Kise look to punish this pick that was locked in the first rotation for Mammoth? So far, so good. Under turret, but that's to be expected. And there is the hook. It goes out. Puma down to 50%. Aftershock coming in clutch here. Mayfarn waiting in the wings. You can imagine that is why they feel so confident to go for that exchange.
We do see Kevlin. Oh, I keep saying Kevlin. I've been brainwashed.
I've jinxed you, honestly. It's all I hear now, right? I see it and I feel like, yeah, it's Kevlin.
Well, Evelyn's going to reset here. Both junglers going to reset, but we do know that the support of Mammoth doesn't have that flash available, so Kevy can potentially look for a kill on the support when Corporal still has this flash. But Puma is out of mana, so it's going to be pretty hard to pull off if it does work.
Oh no!
Oh!
Well, that looked dicey for a second, didn't it? That looked really scary for a second. It almost felt like Puma was going to get one tap by the final shot of that Silver Bolt, but ultimately,
oh my God.
Leona just does a lot of damage. As you say, no cleanse, no flash, no nothing. Zenith Blade, I think Corporal probably didn't want that to connect ultimately.
I don't think Voice expected the Leona to just flash in an auto twice, but any cleanse would be nice in that situation. Could have avoided a death or maybe even the Leona burning an extra summoner. But that's really bad for the side of Mammoth because you want that Vayne to be deathless and scaling into the late game.
Certainly do. And, I mean, is there an argument to be made? You would say that the fact that he didn't burn any summoners, whilst it is bad on its own, Rocco's going to have his flash up very shortly, so surely there's a way for them to come back to this one before the snowball effect becomes too big.
We do see the Ezreal actually picking up the Sheen in this case. I just prefer Banes not to die this early into the match, and we do see Kise actually being hooked out quite a lot with no mana in this matchup. I really don't like this Silas last pick coming out of order. I think maybe a longer range mage like the Syndra could do a lot more for the side of order.
Yeah, but it's no doubt a vote of confidence, right? Kise would have had that available for him in the draft, but has gone for this one. Very lucky not to be locked in place by that event horizon. Avoided any ganks for the meantime, but he is up by a very large margin when it comes to CS at least.
We do see Biopanther picking up a Cole because this Poppy actually has no kill threat on this Graves, while vice versa, because this Graves can't jump in and trade.
Here we go though. Look how overextended Mammoth's bot lane is. Voice has copped a turret shot. He's going to get charmed. Where you going? Flash forward. Not going to connect. Corporal, though, you're standing on vision and you can't step this one. It's not level 6 just yet, but can they find their kill? In comes Kiss. They're stealing away the Nautilus ult and using it to great success against him.
Maybe that's why we picked Silas, boys, but very good gank from the side of Order, sorry. When you do have your jungler resetting from the top side, barely making it into the bot lane, you shouldn't be that pushed up as this from the side of Mammoth, especially when, you know, it's just Silas is roaming. You can't do that. It's illegal.
Illegal. The word we love to use, and the punishment that comes about it, right? 2 kills now found here by the side of Order, who will turn that into the first dragon of the game. So they've picked themselves up an Ocean Drake, which is quite nice. They find themselves also up by 1,000 gold with these CS leads too, by the 7-minute mark.
This game is going to be a primarily focused around this bot lane because both supports do provide that engage, which is really good setup for these kills. We see Voice actually chunked again. It's because Ezreal did get that really good base getting the Sheen, so this Vayne's going to have a really hard time eating those Qs for this lane.
Certainly can. That's the point we were scared about, right? Whilst they are grouped up, this is where the Sheen Pale Spike becomes devastating, especially when combined with Leona's passive. Maybe in a 1v1, right, the Vayne can run this Ezreal down, but he needs a whole bunch of time before that even becomes a discussion point. So we'll get to see when Order, and Corporal in particular, decides to leave lane and start roaming elsewhere, but the protection is proving to be pretty strong so far.
We do see Order having complete control of this red buff quadrant while Mayfan is pathing towards that Herald. They're just completely giving up this bot lane from the side of Mammoth.
How many plays they've lost? Already lost 3 at this stage.
Classic Q cancellation of, well, auto cancellation from that Q. This is just going to be another dive knowing that Mammoth don't have flash from the previous dive.
Here we go, as the True Shot Barrage comes out, trims them both down nice and early. A cleanse is there, and he's still not got the ultimate. They're going to get a trade though, and that's fantastic. A 1-for-1. A reason to believe for Voice, and an answer back here from Refury.
Refury with the sneaky Predator running bot lane to pick up that kill. We do know that Kevy used his ulti already, so it was really good commitment from Refury. And because Mayfan didn't... Oh.
Yeah, he's going in. He's going to use the ultimate against him. Oh no, he's been feared into the pit as both horses go galloping in.
Because Mayfan didn't actually show up to protect that dive in the bot lane, Kisei was assuming that he was at the red buff. This is a really nice condemn from Voice. Although, just there's not much you can do from the side of Mammoth. Maybe prolong their death a little longer when Refury just barely got to the fight.
Oh, bro, no way. He's flashed him, and Rocco's just like, well, there goes my hook.
You can't pick Vayne against Puma Yuzi.
That's the, I mean, that is the 1v1 we're looking for, right? He spotted a moment. He said, you don't have the protection of Corporal, and that is the reason also is you're so strong. You can just cancel out hooks.
You see Kevy kind of hovering ball lane once again, and Voice doing the walk of shame for the 3rd time in this game.
Refury's brought it back big time in this mid lane. He was down at 20 CS by one stage, but close 6. He's got himself a little bit more agency now. They both find themselves with a solo kill. But now the lane stay is certainly working against them.
I love the synergy coming out of Kevy and Corporal. They have such good linked up plays. But looking at this, Nathan has spotted Evelyn.
They might have gone for that, right? If there was a solo player available, but Corporal's still not level 6. Mayfan, no doubt, was feeling a little bit concerned for a second there.
Panther is just kind of Resonant sleeping in the top lane. All he has to do is CS because the majority of the team fighting will be in this bot side. We're gonna, from the side of Order, we're gonna try and look for a pick on one of these carriers with this Evelyn.
Hunting for it. Corporal's
So close.
blade goes out. He was blind unless he had enough vision there from Kevy. Won't connect here.
Puma has a Triforce at 11 minutes.
It's the dream, really, isn't it? Up in CS, up in kills.
Maybe
He's been rewarded for it.
Corporal is right and Puma is the best ADC in the league right now.
It's really hard to make that statement though, right? Given how many great AD carries we have in this league. After the game we just saw from Raze 2, it just puts that much more interesting narrative towards these playoff games when they come about.
It actually won't be that hard walking in as a 5-man unit for this Dragon. You do have a lot of CC, especially coming out of the Veigar. It provides a really good safety net for the side of Mammoth, but they have zero vision for this Dragon, so they are not going to look. But they do have Herald, so they're going to drop that in the bot lane, maybe provide some extra gold for this Vayne to scale back into the game, but it's looking quite dire.
Look at Voice though. He's that keen to pick up the plate that he's going to try and survive for this one. He hits the cleanse instantly, tumbling into the night as he picks up one. He's taken down the Leona. Now he's been knocked up by a depth charge. Salas commits, but now disengage away. Now ultimately does this fight work in their favor? Because look at Order still on the flank, in the river, on vision, but not willing to give up any more.
Both top laners have TP just in case they want to do the flank. But Kevy has flash, so maybe he can look here, knowing that Voice has no cleanse from the previous flash stun of Corporal.
We're just playing skill shot simulator here in the bot lane, aren't we? Between the Evelynn and the Ezreal.
We do see Puma actually going for a sneaky cheese, maybe? Oh, he's resetting. If the Leona wants, they can do a sneaky cheese on this Vayne because he has no cleanse. But we're going to look at the replay. Corporal knows what his job is. Flashes on the Vayne, burns that cleanse. Although he dies really quickly after with no mana, this Vayne now has no cleanse for these important teamfights. So, yeah, it's just... This fight was pretty even, but Order still got more out of it because they have secured that Dragon previously.
It felt so dicey though for a second, right? Because they summoned the Herald and you're thinking, okay, they can at least trade something for this, right? A conventional play that you usually see happen in the mid lane. The Drake went down at, you know, rapid pace. I thought surely this Vayne dies, but no. Managed to get the kill, and that's huge. Buying themselves some crucial moments to try and bridge the gap between himself and this Ezreal. And there's the gold graph, and that's what we're sort of honing in, right? You know, he's down 1,500 gold at the stage. It's a massive, massive deficit.
Looking at the comp of Mammoth, they do have a Vayne and a Veigar who scale extremely well into the late game. It's just, you have to avoid those early deaths so you are allowed to reach those item spikes and level spikes to actually have that late game.
You have to really see anything from Mayfun, right? He's been on full clear duty, perhaps popped his head into lane a few times, but more so to babysit rather than actually attempt anything in the ganking department. There's no more mana left. He's going to pick up that blue buff before he inevitably goes elsewhere, but yeah, just waiting to see him deploy the map before this Evelynn just runs right with things.
Corporal already around the next objective, which is this Herald, and really see that Evelynn and the Leona is already synced up for this objective, while the Hecarim base, I just don't see the same synergy coming out of other support jungles compared to Kevy and Corporal.
Certainly haven't seen him go for that link-up play as you highlight. Speaking of the Order bot lane, they have gone topside. They're going to try and get this turret down, which they are successful in doing so. That's the first turret off this game. Tron looks to try and find something, but without terrain to charge and stun you into. Never really looked like they were going to find anything from that one, and Kevy's just silently achieving. That's the second Herald.
If Vayne remains deathless while she solo lanes in the bot lane, this is going to be really good for Mammoth because she gets to have the solo XP while farming, and this Graves doesn't seem like he's playing that aggressive where this Vayne is under any threat. So this can be a window for this Vayne to sneak back into the game.
It could be, and we have to keep eyes on what that looks like because Puma does have that one level lead at the moment. Whether or not it does get evened out anytime soon. There will be that break point somewhere through this game where you start to say, okay, late game is there, the weight of responsibility, the chance to clutch is available now here for Voice, but we are still biding our time.
Wow, Corporal's an absolute Chad walking in by himself. And maybe they have spotted him.
Just got denied vision though, didn't he? Maybe Tron would have gone for that otherwise.
We do see Biopanther putting that side lane pressure on while he has the TP available. So if Mammoth don't pull the trigger on this dragon fight with the amount of CC on their end, it's going to be really bad for the side of Mammoth.
Just out of range from connecting on that charm. But they bought time, they prevented his reset. Meanwhile, 4 members of Mammoth find themselves posted up and planted in the mid lane. They want to get their first turret of the game, and they're going to be successful in doing so. But Order are quite consciously aware of this. They're already 2 steps ahead. Yes, you claimed an objective bounty to claw back at his 5k deficit, but we're getting another turret individually in top lane thanks to Bio. We summoned a Herald to get another turret bot side, and that's a Herald with 2 headbutts that is just putting infinite value.
What I would have liked to see from the side of Mammoth is you saw the Leona and Ezreal in the bot lane. You saw the Graves in the top lane getting those towers. The only person that you didn't know where their whereabouts was Kevy. If I was Refury, I would have just tried something, even put down a cage, maybe even burn a flash from Kisei. But they kind of just traded 1 mid tower for 2 tier 2 towers.
It feels rough, doesn't it? It really does. And no amount of objective bounty is going to claw you back at such a rate to answer back in that same sort of fashion. What I do find interesting though is just the level of CS that's been found across the board here from all of Mammoth. They're all going to try and be the star of the show. There is your current level graph as well, and we are getting a quick chance to check in and see what this Vayne Ezreal battle looks like, but it is still Puma with a healthy 1 level advantage.
I'm not seeing a lot of proactiveness from the side of Mammoth, especially from Mayfan. You know, you have the clear initiation from the Hecarim ult, but he hasn't actually done anything other than full clearing this game.
Yeah.
Puma now with his Manamune, I believe.
Go though. Mammoth are going to try and make something happen in the mid lane. They're not going to let this tier 1 fall down for free. Predator was used there by the Veigar, but unable to connect on the target they're after. Event Horizon just out of range. But Order are just the first ones to the play every single time. You also saw just how far ahead Bio is too.
Really good cage coming from Refury.
Great cage, isn't it? Event Horizon into Last Grace, into Flash away, into a shield from that Locket. And the Evelyn is just gone. Unless Mayfan decides to say my first gank will be one where I look to try and make it
This
in.
Veigar
Yes,
cage though.
Kisei has been taken down. Kisei going across the wall, going gold and buying time for some precious cooldowns to come back, but not going to find it. Not going to find it, and a big shutdown for the Veigar.
This is exactly what I wanted to see from Refury. You know, you have that cage on such a low cooldown. You can burn flashes, all the flashes that you want. You do have Ezreal and Graves showing in their lanes, so you know that you have the numbers advantage in that blue buff skirmish. But yeah, you burn 2 flashes with that cage. Although Kevy's miscalculation, he didn't actually... Well, they both walked into the Veigar cage, and he had to burn flash to dodge the remaining amount of damage. Vayne and Nautilus are actually really late to the play, but look at where Refury is. A really safe spot while putting down a cage that actually stops Kisei from jumping out as well. And Poppy gets the stun on Kisei as well. Really good play coming out of Mammoth, and exactly what we wanted to see from Mammoth as well.
It certainly is, and that's the first practice play that's going to answer back at what has been a very strong, solid start here for the Order. And they needed a play like that, didn't they? Because they were down 5k, it's continued to grow. It's now 7k that they are falling behind on. So a few more moments like that, bit of punishment, might just prevail yet.
Even if you are playing the scaling game from Mammoth, you're already so behind from the early game, especially with the Vayne dying 3 times really bad. You need to make more of those plays just to fasten up the tempo. You know, coin flip it, burger flip it, whatever you like to call it, for this Vayne to actually scale and come back into the game. Well, Vayne wasn't in those fights other than the last 2 kills, I believe, but Fury on the Veigar, we have interviewed him before, and he said that his favorite champion was Veigar. So it's actually really nice seeing him play these fights really well.
He certainly is, and he's going to have his work cut out for him though, because a minute is all that remains before Order threaten the idea of getting themselves a Mountain Soul. Just saw Voice go back to base, and he's still hunting for that second item, and he must have only had 650 to his name because he's gone back to base, picked up a stopwatch, and that is that. So, with all summoners, really hoping that this Vayne can put on a miracle.
We do see Kisei pressuring the side lane, and no one's going to answer him, so he can potentially get an inhib tower if no one responds to the Sylas.
It's nice though, isn't it? I mean, it's just calling Mammoth's bluff. You had to respond to us. We're the ones that hold all the answers, all the questions, and have all the options available to us. They're just going to keep them interested, prevent them from backing away. Voice is going in,
no,
and I'm getting throwbacks to that Caitlyn game yesterday. Instant cleanse, as well as the stasis effect. And I don't know if this is a fight you want, Mammoth. You've got to run away. Surely, Event Horizon is nice. They go for the one-shot to Kemi, but it's deja vu. He gets away again. Look how low Mayfun is. But in Kisei hits him with the Una reverse card. It's a double kill for Kisei here. He's opened up a top lane inhibitor, and that is ace.
Skimmy, we saw probably the best team fight coming out of Mammoth a few minutes ago, but Mammoth just did exactly the opposite. They didn't play around the Veigar. Voice actually got caught by the Evelyn. Rocco, I believe, hooked onto a wall because maybe he would have thought the hook goes through a wall. I do that sometimes too, it's okay, I understand you. But the Veigar was so late to the fight was basically over, and when everyone died, the Veigar was by himself, so he had to just kind of fall down with the team. Really good fight coming out of Order, and a really good pick from Kevi as well.
Start off this clip, right? It's initially Voice looking to try and find that play, gets punished, comes out of this one. The Vayne contribution by this point is very limited.
Yep, we do see the Veigar to be a little bit faster, but we saw Vayne actually flash cleanse nothing. The Leona ult was a bit too early coming out of the stopwatch, so it was kind of wasteful coming out of Voice. But this fight was basically over when Refury actually TP'd in, so he kind of just fell down with the boys. But yeah, really bad fight, but really good fight for Order.
I mean, a great fight from them in terms of macro and micro, right? The idea of we know exactly where you're going to be even without vision control. So we're just going to split push top side. You know that, well, you have to contest it. There's not really much left on the map for you to do otherwise, right? So played it into a false sense of hope. And yeah, Order winning on all fronts. They got themselves the Mountain Soul, an Ace, and a Baron.
I don't know if teams in Oceanic just let Kevi scale into the late game, or maybe Kevi's Evelyn is just so good at the game that he just automatically gets that free scale and hits level 6 for free. But I refuse to believe that Evelyn is actually going to pop up 3 games in a row.
Well, here we go. You say it and he dies. So welcome to Cast the Curse. Here we go again.
It's okay, they don't need Kevi anyways. Puma's absolutely a monster with his Qs. Look at that!
Yeah, look at these Mystic shots. They don't miss, right? An absolute sniper with these skill shots. And that's all it takes. You take down the Veigar, and now that opens up an inhibitor. Bot lane is gone. Mid soon to follow. And I might just look for the trifecta here.
I'm gonna make a bet. Corporal is not going to finish his Zhonya's by the end of the game, and the curse is going to continue.
I love that stat also, Loki. That's such a good idea, right? He's only got the shin pads, always sitting on the Seeker's arm guards. Yep. He can never fully complete the Zhonya's. The life of a support player with a limited economy. Kisei tries to connect with the chains, but just out of range. On to the Nexus we go. Order want to wrap things up here. They've got places to go and things to do. 25 minutes into this one, and they have a devastating gold lead, and it showcases why. Because in this fight, they are wiping the floor with Mammoth. Puma now on 2 kills, making a triple. He's now 7-0-6, a flawless game from the start, AD carry. From start to finish, as they will close this one out and put themselves at now 8-6.
7 kills on both the mid lane and ADC of Order. Absolutely insane. Especially Puma, you know, playing that Ezreal, something that we don't often see in the LCO, making it work once again. His champion pool is so diverse. I don't know what this man can't do.
It's a very good question. What can he not do? And I think it goes back to the idea of practice, refinement, and evolution as we get ourselves one step closer now to playoffs, because he's shown a level of versatility that is going to be quite rightfully utilized, no doubt, when those playoffs come around. You start to say, what is the go-to? What is the idea? What is the way to try and shut this man down? Because Mac, I'm not sure at this stage.
Yeah, good couple of questions, really. Who are you talking about? Sorry, I was having a conversation with one of my good friends.
So we're talking about Puma, because, I mean, that game was flawless from him. 0 deaths and just, the king.
Yeah, absolute king. Look, even coming into this game, had incredible statistics. And look, going into the end of it, I'm sure they're only that much better as well. I might actually pull him up and see what he's got. But look, he just had it all in the damn bot lane. Good to see him on the Ez, changing it up a little bit, not just the Jinx, not just those huge high damage output ADCs. Although, look, Ez arguably is one of those, especially when you are so damn good at hitting those skill shots. You said multiple times there was just so many skill shots coming out from Order. And it was right. Look, there was a few times where things went right for Mammoth, as you can see here on your screens. But for the most part, Order, they knew exactly where to be. They knew exactly where to stand. And their comp just has so much damage output. And Mammoth could not stand underneath it. Kitty, going into the game, you did mention that you liked how Mammoth had a bit more of a front line in their comp. But unfortunately, it really just couldn't stand up because, as Kevlin does, he just smashes out the damage. And having a look here, actually he did actually no damage in comparison to Puma. So the man has just been putting in the work. 22,600 damage. He put, look, that's 50. That'd be like 43, 44% of the team's damage share. And I feel like you cannot look past this man as, the Dare MVP.
Mac, the last time Order went against Mammoth, they played towards Puma again on that vein last time, but this time they played towards bot again, and they had the same results. It's just a working formula for Order.
It certainly is. Now, having a look at the gold diff, was there any real point where you felt like Mammoth were in it? The kills on the board there, Skimmy, they were looking relatively close up until about sort of the 15, 16, 17 minute mark. But at that point, you're looking at the gold difference, and that's where it really just starts to stampede in favour of Order.
Yeah, I think the major concerns, there's a few, I think, from Mammoth, right? The Poppy was sort of left her own device, didn't really see much of a contribution in terms of what that champion was meant to offer in terms of those team fights, but just Mayfarm, just going for a full clear. His lanes are kind of breaking around him, and it's just like, don't worry, I'll farm up a Storm and I'll be the carry, right? Forget about Chem Tank, maybe it's going to be a Trinity Full Sacrum, I'm not too sure. But it felt like they were always one step behind, and Order, rightfully so, with their experience and their pedigree, were able to punish them.
That's it. I really loved that we got to see Order making moves from the get-go, and burning that flash just gave him so much more prio in that bot lane to keep making moves. So it was like literally from that first invade, things were going right. And I have someone to talk to about it as well. So Bio, I believe, is down and waiting for the post-match interview. Oh, big man, good to see you again. How you doing after that dub?
Good to see you. I'm feeling really good. Like, that game felt like we just played the macro. Like, I literally did no damage that game. I was just pushing waves and playing the objective game, and then they just ran out of options because they had like nowhere to play. So I really like that game.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well when I was looking at the stats. I was like, all right, so what's going on here? And it was just Puma, just pumping absolute damage. Now, I've actually asked Twitch chat while the game was on for a couple of questions, just to sort of change it up. And they wanted to know, how focused were you?
Out of 10, probably 10. Yeah, I was really focused. Why? That question's very interesting.
Okay. Well, Kuden's not your coach, so I don't know how much you would know to like focus 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10, as he'd probably put it.
Yeah.
And then someone else has asked, Soloq tips for one tricks.
For one tricks?
Yeah. What do you recommend they do?
Mainly just... I think it's more like just learn the meta lane matchups for your lane, for your one trick, and then just play around that. And I feel like you'll just skyrocket in solo queue. I feel like that's the main thing. Just know your matchups and know what's meta, and play around like your weaknesses as a champ, and you should be all good.
Very good. A beautiful bit of knowledge. Now, in retrospection, what would you have changed through this game if it could be anything, or do you think it was just the perfect game macro-wise?
I think macro-wise, it felt really good. I feel like we just didn't let them have any mistakes. Sure, we could have punished, I think, a few lanes more, but I think macro-wise has been our biggest focus because, like, I think that's where we falter as a team. So showcasing that on stage is a really good thing for us.
Yeah, so it's like small steps forward over the weeks. Now, of course, this game went pretty quick, so I think I can ask a few more questions while I got you here.
Yeah.
How much influence does the coaching team have in your drafts? Or is it more just, the boys having a chat saying, this is what we want to play? Or is it Sari saying, I think you should play this, and you guys sort of cave in and do it?
I think it's half-half. I think it's like, I feel like the coaching staff have like really good ideas, and it's just mainly the players will rock up one day and be like, oh, I really want to play this, and then everyone's just like, okay, how do we make this work? How to focus? And it's just like hours on end on just drafting like certain stuff. So it's like we have like a basis, but sometimes someone wakes up and be like, oh, I want to play Aphelios, or I want to play Evelyn, and like we just have to like scrap everything, start a new draft, and figure it out from there.
Is that what Kevy said to Sabo?
Oh, when Evelyn was open, he literally locked it in. Like there was no ifs or buts, and we just played around it. So
look, it's a scary thing. He's just invisible all around the rift. And one last question: it's Rising Star Month. So who in the LCO do you think is the most improved so far? Doesn't have to be from your team; can be anyone.
Most improved.
Let's go this split, so it's not like too big of a sample size.
I think Voice has been really like good throughout the split. Like he's been showcasing like a lot in these games, and I think he's been popping off. I feel like Voice for sure. He's probably my pick.
Good answer. Now, good to chat, and good luck tomorrow. Of course, you've got one more game here in the Super Week. Actually, before we leave, how do you feel about these Super Weeks? Because it's the last one. Do you enjoy having more games on, or do you not like that you can't prep as well for each game?
I like more games. I think more games are just more fun. It's more tense, and these are like the games where you can improve the most. So I really like the more games. It gives, I don't know, it's just more fun to play on stage, and it gives more like action. I don't know. It's just so much fun.
Very good. Well, it gives me more fun throughout the week. Another whole day of LCO, another whole day of bio in my life. So you enjoy the W. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. See ya.
He's just got that smile, man. He just makes me happy. I love interviewing him, man. Now, look, we got to talk about the Dare MVP. And I think, look, there's no surprises. These two games, they've had absolute standouts. First of all, it was Raze, and again, it's the other ADC. We got Puma, who was laying down the groundwork, showing everyone how to play a bloody Ez here in the LCO. Perfect game, 7-0 and 7. Kitty, tell me, what do these numbers mean, and why has he got 45% of the damage share for his team?
That Triforce at 11 minutes definitely contributed to the 45% damage share for Puma here. Obviously having the perfect KD of 707, really good. But Ezreal is one of those ADCs that you want to play safe on. But this game, he played the aggressive Ezreal, which is what I like. You want to E in, you want to hit those Qs, and Voice could not deal with it. And you see the gold share, really good because he got all 5 plates in the bot as well. 11 place swords, got to get those visions down for Corporal and Kevy.
And look, I have a few more stats here as well. Not only did he do 22,550 damage to champs, he did almost the exact same amount to objectives as well, 21,410. So he's just hitting everything. He never stops right-clicking. This man is just attack move, kite, hit, bloody hit. He just knows what to do. And look, you guys at home apparently know how to draw because we have some more content from you guys from the fans. Let's have a look at what you've sent in because we saw 4 earlier and I believe we might have 4 or 5 here. Davo, that is horrendous. It's a good attempt because you've gone old school. I know you don't know how to use paint or a mouse, but congratulations. You've drawn a, what champ is it?
Honestly, this is what I look like when I play Minecraft. You've got the pickaxe going on there.
Yep.
But in all seriousness, I believe this is Nautilus. You got the little stubby legs with the helmet on. But yeah, not A for effort. Honestly, maybe even a D. It's not that good. It looks more like a bin, with the little top thing opening.
You're not holding back.
It's almost as good as it's probably better than my picture I drew of Lisa last week. So look, I'll give him that. He's a much better drawer. I'm going to assume he did this in 3 seconds. Any longer than that, then it's a fail. Now let's move on to the next champ. Davo, sorry. Look, I love roasting him. So you roast me all the time. Corby, I love this. So a bit of Zoe. Good to see, just dropping through one hole, popping up the other, and throwing little sleepy orbs at people.
that little face in the bottom right corner is like the face you make when you're like, you've been trouble bubbled. You're like, well, I guess I'm just dead.
Yeah, and then
This is really well done.
there's like the little icon there as well, which is like the but it's an F. I love it. It works out perfectly. So great job coming through from Corby there. We've got a third to have a look at. Let's see who it is, what champ we're looking at. It is Noman McGee. I love a good Noman McGee. Is this... Wait, who's this again?
It's Pantheon.
Yep, that's the one. I was looking at this weird tapestry that's down between his legs, and I was focused on it for some reason. Skimmy, why?
Why?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a beast, isn't he? He's packing. He certainly jumps up into the skies and comes down crashing. He's maybe just crash landing on you. I'm not too sure, but certainly is a champion that I would love to see a little bit more from the LCO.
Yeah, he's got a very big pole over in that right hand as well. Now, we've got 2 more to get through, so let's have a look at what we're talking about. Gooby. Gooby with a little cheeky bit of the clowny boy. Is that Juice?
It's Juice / Shaco, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a Gooby special, isn't it? Like, he is the Shaco player.
I was gonna say Shaco, but I really thought that was Jube's. Like the eyes, like look exactly like Jube's eyes, especially the spacing, and that's his nose. Unfortunately, I don't see a mouth there. So yeah, I know Jube's has a big mouth, Skimmy, doesn't it?
I mean, it's got a Jube's caption, right? Like the March, but then it says April, so it's just like, well, okay, someone's trying to be really clever in production, aren't they?
Very true. Now let's have a look in towards the last champ that has been drawn here, and it's hoity-toity Ose with some jacked-ass Yuumi. Kitty, is this what your Yuumi looks like when you play it?
It's definitely what my Yuumi looks like when I play, you know, the Chad Yuumi player first pick me Yuumi here, you know, that photo of the guy, the buff guy with the laptop on his lap. But I love the detail on the eyes, you know, although I even look at the detail in the book, there's actual writing on there. I respect that.
True.
Ain't that something? Is that the face of Jack Squidward? Is that what
the chin
was drawn around with the chin of the gods?
That's a really good point, actually.
Huge. Hoity. That's 17 out of 10. That's more than 11 out of 10. Congratulations. I want a round of applause. That's
my favorite one yet.
Some great work. Some absolutely beautiful work. Now, look, you guys make sure you follow on Twitch. Hit that follow button. And if not, then I'm going to hold this hostage. We're not going to break until you do it. Did you do it? Good. And if you didn't, well, I'll probably hate you now. Now, we've got a third game to get to. And to get there, we've got to go through this break. So, hold your horses. Get yourself a little drink. Get yourself hydrated. And we'll see you after this for Grav and Penton.
Voice is going in, and I'm getting throwbacks to that Caitlyn game yesterday. Instant cleanse, as well as the stasis effects. And I don't know if this is a fight you want, man. If you've got to run away, surely Event Horizon is nice. They go for the one shot to Kemi, but a stage off he gets away again. Look how low Mayfun is. But in Kisei hits him with the Una reverse cards. It's a double kill for Kisei here. He's opened up a top lane inhibitor, and that is